The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat begins with a young man named Lug Tuahada, who accepts a contract to assassinate the corrupt nobles assisting a slave auction. Lug then carries out his mission with his companions, the girls named Dia Viacone and Tart, who infiltrate the place to thwart the ongoing slave auction. Dia and Tart immediately shoot the corrupt nobles at the auction, while Lug and his adoptive sister, Maha, are in a position to kill the targets from a distance. During this time, a flashback of Lug's previous life shows he's the assassin who was training a rookie while simultaneously taking out members of a crime syndicate. As they tried to escape, the assassin and the rookie were intercepted by a drone, forcing them to improvise to avoid it. As day broke, the assassin contacted the organization where he announced his intent to retire and become a mentor to future assassins in Japan. Using fake passports, the assassin and the rookie reached a nearby airport and took a flight to Japan. Unfortunately, their plane was attacked by a fighter jet deployed by the organization, and the assassin realized that he had been set up. The assassin also realized that the organization didn't need him anymore and wanted to eliminate him by causing his plane to crash. However, that only saddened him, as he had always been loyal to them and would have even taken his own life if they had told him he was no longer needed. But before we continue the video, we want to thank Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Raid just celebrated their 3rd anniversary as one of the top RPG games. Let's check some of the amazing things that happened in the game during those years. Let's start with the Doom Tower. Sprawling over 120 levels, the Doom Tower brought exciting new challenges for seasoned players. And as a high-level collection RPG, Raid started and kept adding hundreds of unique characters and bosses. And if adding new characters wasn't enough, last year Raid added a whole new faction. The Shadowken is one of the coolest-looking factions in the game. And of course, the Hydra clan boss is always the biggest, baddest, and scariest boss ever. Now let's check what's new in Raid. There's a ton happening in Raid this month, and one of them is Path of Light, the new event for the summer solstice. But wait, there's more. Raid's currently running a special Deliana Chase event where you can get your hands on the amazing Deliana, a brand new legendary champion from the High Elves faction. All you have to do is log in and play Raid for 7 days between now and July 20th, and you'll get Deliana for free. On top of that, there's some awesome new champions coming out and a set of skins for the amazing Trunda Giltmullet. And if you click my link in the description or scan my QR code here on the screen, you'll get unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking a free epic champion, Aina, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard. Once you're in the game, just enter promo code MyDeliana to get your hands on everything. Get 50 XP brews to get your legendary hero Deliana to max level 50 instantly, as well as a ton of silver. And it's that easy. Just click the link in the description, and I'll see you in the Raid Shadow Legends. Once the assassin died, he encountered a goddess who gave him a choice: be reborn as a completely different person or accept her request and be reborn with his memories intact. The goddess wanted the assassin to take the second choice because she needed him to kill the hero of another world. The assassin agreed to kill the hero, simply because he wanted to experience the happiness he couldn't have in his previous life due to him suppressing his emotions. The goddess allowed him to choose special powers and abilities but warned him that he only had 18 years after his birth to kill the hero before the hero brought chaos into that world. After reaching an agreement with the goddess, the assassin is reborn as a child of the Tuahada family, a noble house of assassins named Lug. As Lug begins his new life, he becomes an expert hunter and cooks. His father examines his physical growth and concludes that Lug is ready for a special surgery that will give him the ability to perceive magic in a person or an environment. Lug successfully obtained the mystical eyes passed down the Tuahada family, a pair of eyes that he acquired from his father through surgery which allows long-distance vision. Objects in motion appear far clearer and even allows a stronger sense of depth. It also allows him to see mana or magical energy. Normally, mana was something one could only sense, yet now he could faintly make out its flow within his body. The next day, Lug's father introduces him to a girl named Dia Viacone, who will be his magic teacher. Dia is a noble from a foreign country and one of the strongest mages alive. In an attempt to measure Lug's magical potential, Dia gives him a Far Stone, a special gemstone that can measure a person's magic capacity. Seeing Lug, Dia didn't expect much at first, but she was quickly impressed by his magic power and talent. Because Lug's power is so vast, however, the Far Stone ends up exploding. This gives Lug the idea of using Far Stones as makeshift grenades. Over the following weeks, Dia and Lug become emotionally attached to each other. When they're training, Lug proves to be an exceptionally fast learner. He is not only learning how to synthesize metals but also how to create weapons. Lug and Dia even learn how to create new spells together. Finally, it's been 2 weeks since they met. On their last night together, Luke gives Dia a titanium knife as thanks for being his teacher, while Dia gives him her personal far stone. On the next day, as Dia departs, Luke's father decides that it is time for Luke to assassinate someone for the first time while explaining the methods. His father takes Luke to prison, where he meets a woman guilty of multiple crimes who tries to plead innocence. However, Luke knows that the woman is lying. Because the woman insults him, Luke kills her painlessly. A couple years later, Luke is 10 years old and about to go into the woods to find supplies for winter. In the middle of the forest, Luke is surprised by the appearance of a pack of wolves who are about to prey on a little girl. Luke then saves the girl named Tart from a pack of wolves that will eat her. Using his mana vision, he sees great potential in Tart, who can be both his personal servant and his assistant during assassinations. Tart is a girl from a poor background who had made her way to the Tuahada region in hopes of a better life. After rescuing her from a pack of wolves, Luke brings Tart to his home and gets permission from his father to train her as an assassin. Long story short, when Luke reaches the age of 12, he finds that Tart has become skilled in spear fighting but has trouble using smaller weapons like knives. To solve this problem, Luke creates a special, retractable spear that Tart can hide beneath her clothes. With a good weapon at her disposal, Luke believes Tart has become a valuable asset in his mission to kill the hero. Luke has produced a large collection of far stones thanks to the spells Dia taught him and reports to his father, revealing that all this time, he has been observing Tart and can say with full confidence that she is not a spy from a rival region. One day, Luke's father tells him that it is time for Luke to face him in combat to prove he is ready to perform assassinations. Despite Luke's youth and experience from his previous life, his father, Keon, proves to be a formidable opponent. Afterward, Luke joins his father in performing assassinations, and Keon tells him that to facilitate his work, he will have to assume a fake identity as a member of the Balor trading family. His father then holds a party to celebrate Luke's ascension as heir of the house. After that, Luke and Tart depart the following day and begin their journey to the Balor region. Luke and Tart begin their lives in the Balor region in the merchant town Miltu, with their fake identity. On the other side, a little girl named Maha and her friends must work hard to make a living in the city. Unfortunately, they are captured by a group of bandits and taken to an orphanage, which turns out to be a front for a prostitution ring. There, all the girls, except Maya, are forced into prostitution under the heel of the local noble, which deeply traumatizes them. 2 years pass, and Maya, upon knowing that she is next in line, is eventually found by Luke, under the alias of Alig Balor. However, before Luke can buy her, the orphanage director tells him he must wait 3 days. Fortunately, Luke saves Maya, and with Tart's help, he can expose the noble's crimes and get him arrested. As the prostitution ring is shut down, Maha finally finds a new home with Luke as her adoptive brother. As Luke continues his life as Alig Balor, he comes up with the idea of opening a cosmetics shop in Miltu to increase profits for the Balor family and fund his assassination duties. He then introduces lotions, moisturizers, and sweets to that world, giving his shop, Orna, a massive boost in sales and a huge advantage in the market only 6 months after its opening. However, spies hired by rival businesses attempt to infiltrate Luke's home to discover the secrets of his success. With the help of Tart and Maha, Luke captures at least one spy, but cannot gain any useful information from him, even when subjecting him to torture. As his business grows, Luke temporarily leaves Miltu and plans to visit Dia to increase his magical knowledge. Having established a prosperous business in Miltu, Luke decides to return home and continue his training as an assassin. He leaves Maha in charge of Orna, knowing that she plans to expand the business into other regions, and promises he will visit. On their way home, Luke and Tart are attacked by a pack of wolves, but Tart easily kills them and Luke observes that monster attacks on human settlements have become more frequent, suspecting that the hero will show up soon. Upon his return, Luke is summoned to his father's study, where his father gives him a choice to give up on the life of an assassin and instead live peacefully as a merchant. His father has become too old to do something else with his life, but Luke is still free to choose his own path. However, Luke chooses to remain in his current lifestyle. He admits that he has fallen in love with Dia, and explains that he will not be able to marry her if he does not possess the privileges of the Alvan Kingdom's aristocracy. Accepting his son's choice, Keon gives Luke his first target as a fully trained assassin. Luke's first target as a fully trained assassin is Count Asba Venkor, an aristocrat who has been selling military secrets to neighboring kingdoms in exchange for Visine, a drug that he distributes throughout the kingdom. Using Maha's information network, Luke decides to investigate the Count by himself and determine whether or not the target truly deserves assassination. Luke and Tart visit Pisar, the second largest merchant town in the kingdom, and take down a criminal group selling Visine, but not before seeing the effects of the drug on a poor girl's mother. Sometime later, Lug and Maha travel to the Count's mansion under the pretense of selling Orna's products, proving to be a success for Orna. As night falls, Lug silently assassinates Count Venkor with his newest weapon, a sniper rifle, but takes the time to watch the grieving wife's reaction. While Lug does not regret taking the Count's life, he promises never to forget this particular mission, as it was the first assassination he performed as a free man rather than as an unfeeling tool. Lug and Tart spend a full month on a deserted island as part of their assassin training, and upon returning to the mainland, Maha gives them information about a divine treasure, a tool of immeasurable power that Lug has been trying to purchase for some time. This divine treasure, a magical spear called Gaybalk, is in possession of Setanta Maknes, a renowned warrior suspected of becoming the legendary hero. Lug then discovers that the Viekone region is involved in a war, so he rushes to Dia's house, offering her a way to escape if the war reaches her doorstep. Dia refuses to abandon her home, stating her obligations to her family and people. Even so, Lug and Dia decide to enjoy themselves on a date. As Lug returns home, he still thinks he can help Dia escape from the war, but Dia has already taken steps to defend herself by fortifying her hometown. Sometime later, a wounded soldier asks the Tuahada family to assassinate Dia. Lug's father explains that it was Dia's father who ordered the assassination of his own daughter in an attempt to stop the civil war currently afflicting the Viekone region. Since the Tuahada family has always had the option to reject missions depending on their interests, Lug realizes that Dia's death will ultimately fail to stop the war and deduces he can use this mission to save Dia. Tart, acknowledging Lug's feelings for Dia, helps him reach the Viekone region in a way that helps him conserve his magical energy. Long story short, Lug finds that the Viekone mansion is under siege but can make his way to Dia while keeping casualties to a minimum. Meanwhile, Maha's information network has gathered information on the divine treasure Lug has been looking for, and Maha decides to relay her findings to Lug immediately. Lug and Dia's father devise a plan to fake Dia's death and safely sneak her into the Tuahada region. Unfortunately, the arrival of Setanta Maknes thwarts the plan before they can enact it. As Setanta is the wielder of Gaybalk, Lug knows that he will not survive a direct confrontation with him, so he fires a magnetically propelled tungsten projectile into the atmosphere and stalls Setanta long enough for it to obliterate him. Afterward, the Tuahada family adopts Dia under the guise of being Lug's younger sister, completing the mission. Sometime later, Lug receives word that the real hero, Lord Epona Rhiannon, has arrived in the Alvan Kingdom. The moral lesson of this anime is, don't waste the second chance that has been given to you, especially if we are given another opportunity to change lives for the better and get things that we haven't had in our previous lives.